Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Thursday, and of course that means joining you on match day. Arsenal back in action today over in Dubai for the first time, taking on Lyon in the Dubai Super Cup, kicks off at 3:30 PM UK time. Going to be watching, we'll cover it as usual, do ratings and stuff like that on Goal after the game, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Hope you're looking forward to it, I certainly am. Just makes it feel like Boxing Day is getting ever closer, doesn't it, when you start seeing the Arsenal back in action again. I'm not really going to talk about that in today's video. I spoke about it yesterday. I did my predicted 11. If you haven't seen it yet, go and have a look at that. It was on yesterday's video. So I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about that because, as I said in yesterday's video, I wanted to do today's one just focusing more on Jesus' injury and what it could mean for Arsenal. I obviously touched on the injury yesterday and the fact he's had surgery and all that sort of stuff, but I wanted to really sort of look forward now in terms of what this could mean for Arsenal, because obviously I'm getting lots of questions about it. I wrote a piece actually on Goal yesterday. It's on my social media, so you can go and find it after you've watched this video. If you want to give it a read, it's where I cover things a lot more in depth about what Arsenal might do. And I'm getting everyone responding to it. Sign a player. We've got to sign a player, and obviously that's one of the big options available to Arsenal. January is not far away now, and you're going to be without Gabriel Jesus probably for 2 or 3 months. So what do? Do you go with Nketiah? Do you put purely all your trust in him? Do you maybe move Gabriel Martinelli to being a central striker as well, and hoping that Emil Smith-Rowe comes back? What else do you do? There's the Balogun option as well, which I'll talk about, and the main option, the one that everyone kind of wants to see happen, the go into the transfer market option as well. We'll start with that one. We'll start with the transfer market option because obviously that's the one that everyone's getting really hyped up about. And ideally, look, for me personally, putting all things aside, if you gave me an option of what to do, absolutely, it'd be go and sign someone. I think that's what we'd all do, isn't it? Because it'd make the squad stronger. It would give yourselves another big option. It means you're not relying just on one player, which Arsenal basically are going to be with Eddie Nketiah if they don't sign someone. So that is the option that seems to tick all the boxes. And if you want to be in this title hunt, you want to stay in this title hunt, which you have to say Arsenal are, they're 5 points clear after 14 games. They have to be targeting the title from this position. If you want to stay in that hunt, you need as strong a squad as possible. So go out, get the job done, buy a player, bring him in, easy does it. Go and challenge Man City. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Obviously, it doesn't work like that. It's not as easy as that at all. And I think the things that Arsenal are going to be weighing up between now and the window opening is, who is potentially out there, who of our actual targets we've got, and they will have targets in terms of strikers. Of course they will, because there's lots of planning goes on when it comes to the recruitment team. Are any of those available in January? And that's the big question. Are they going to be available in January? Can we prize them away from a club? If not, then I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal don't do anything, and that's not saying they're not going to do anything, but we've seen previous examples speak for himself. Look at last January, Aubameyang was let go. Everyone, myself included, was like, you've got to sign someone, you've got to sign a replacement. You can't let Orba go and then not sign someone. And they did exactly that. They let him go, they didn't sign anyone, and they stuck it out, and they decided to wait because they didn't want to bring anyone in just for the sake of it, who'd then be who then end up just being a sort of squad player that they'd be paying big money to, who they don't really want. And so they opted against that. They waited for Gabriel Jesus in the summer. They went and got their main target, and they kicked on again. And, that's the way Arsenal are operating now. They're all the recruitment, the squad building, it's all this carefully laid out plan that Arteta and Edu are working to, that I'm not convinced they will move away from just because of one injury. I think they, if there is a striker out there who, as I said, is on their list, then I don't see why they wouldn't go out and at least try and get it done. But if the clubs who they're talking to are just saying it's not happening, no way, we're not selling in January, and they just stick to that stance, then, like I said, it just wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal just think, you know what, we're going to go with what we've got. We gave Eddie Nketiah a long-term contract. We really fought hard to keep him in the summer. This is his opportunity to impress. So it's an interesting one, and I'm going to be intrigued to see how it happens. Like I said, personally for me, you go out and you strengthen your squad if it's possible. You sign a striker, you go in and get someone who's going to help lessen the burden on Eddie Nketiah, who's who's going to be around for it. That's the key thing, is that if you do sign someone, it has to be someone who fits your profile, who fits your long-term plan, who you want to stay around for 3-4 seasons, not just a stopgap for a few months. You can't operate like that as a football club. You really can't, especially as a self-sustaining football club, which Arsenal are. If you've obviously got money you can just burn, like the likes of Newcastle or Paris Saint-Germain or Manchester City, then maybe you could, but Arsenal can't. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Anyway, what would your ideal scenario be when it comes to replacing Gabriel Jesus if he is going to be out for 3 months? What would you do in January? Would you sign someone? If so, let me know who in the comments below. See, that question there, let me know who. It's an interesting one, because I've been racking my brain on this. I'm thinking who can Arsenal sign, really, who are going to come in. Because it's not just about Jesus' goals, because look, he only scored 5 this season. It's not like Arsenal are going to miss his goals massively, because he's only scored 5, but it's what he brings to the team, which is just been invaluable. It's what's made him such an absolutely key part of Arsenal's success in turning them from a team kind of competing for not even top 4 really, for a top 6 place over the last few years, to suddenly turning them into a team challenging Manchester City for a title. And Jesus has just transformed that side, from his pressing, his work ethic, his movement, everything that he brings to that final third, which Arsenal were lacking massively beforehand. So in the case of signing a replacement, it's not just about bringing in someone for the sake of it, bringing in a striker who's completely different to Jesus, because I don't think that's going to really change the style of play. You'd have Nketiah up there or someone else. I don't think it's necessarily going to change things by just bringing in a replacement for the sake of it. If you're going to do that, it's got to be someone who kind of ticks all the boxes that Jesus ticks. That's really, really difficult. And I've been racking my brain thinking, who could it be? And I just don't know. I mean, I look at Martinelli at the moment, and he's got a lot of that in terms of his movement, his work ethic, his the way he presses. He's got very similar attributes to Jesus in that regard. Does he have the touch maybe that Jesus has? You have to say probably not. Is he quite as strong as Jesus with his back to goal? Probably not. So that's something he can learn, but that is an option as well when it comes to replacing him. If Smith Rowe gets fit, if he does look pretty fresh and can play on the left-hand side, you could play Martinelli in the centre as well. And let's face it, hopefully, fingers crossed, Gabriel Jesus is going to be back by March, when things really start to kick off, when the Europa League starts up again. And, can Arsenal get through until then? I mean, it's the big $1 million question, isn't it? But yeah, let me know what you guys think, obviously, in the comments below. Eddie Nketiah, he's certainly going to be the main man for now. January doesn't even open. The window doesn't even open until after Christmas. We know we've got West Ham on Boxing Day, Brighton on New Year's Eve before that anyway. So whatever happens, Eddie Nketiah is going to be leading the line in those Premier League games, providing he doesn't get injured during the Dubai Super Cup. So it's about putting trust in Eddie anyway. And this is why Arsenal absolutely do trust Eddie Nketiah. That's why they fought so hard to keep him in the summer. He was very, very close to leaving in the summer at the end of that contract. It looked for a long time like it was going to. Arsenal just gave up basically and decided, right, that's it, you're gone. You've rejected so many contracts. We accept defeat. We're going to stop talking. And then he had that very strong end to the season. Arsenal went back into talks with him and managed to convince him to stay. And they gave him a big contract. And now it's the time for him to step up. This is what he wants. I think when he finished last season, given the form he was in, the goals he scored, given the fact that Arsenal gave him that new contract, he probably thought he was going to get more chances to impress this season. He hasn't started a Premier League game yet. He's played in 12 of the 14. But he hasn't started a Premier League game yet. All 7 starts he's had this season have come in the Europa League and in the Carabao Cup, and all 3 of his goals have come in the cup competitions as well. So this is the chance he's been waiting for. If you want to step up, you want to show you're good enough, you want to kind of live up to what you've been saying in your interviews and things like that, now this is your big chance. Jesus is out. You are the main man. And if Arsenal don't bring in a replacement, which we'll have to wait and see, but if they don't, then you're going to have 2 months, maybe 3 months, where you are the main man and you're the guy who's expected to score the goals to try and keep Arsenal in this title race. I mean, it's huge pressure on Jesus. We saw Granit Xhaka's comments yesterday when he was talking to Simon Collins of the Standard over in Qatar, and he said that we've got to also, basically got to try and protect Eddie as well, because he is going to be the main man. I think that's going to be a key. Arsenal are going to have to try and keep the pressure off Eddie a little bit. If he goes a couple of games without scoring, if the noise starts coming from outside about, he's not good enough, he can't, this is going to mess up Arsenal season. It's about protecting him in that and keeping his confidence levels up, because he's going to be so important. I think Eddie will score goals. If he gets chances, he's proven that he will score goals. Arguably, I said this yesterday, I think if he'd have played in it started as many games as Gabriel Jesus this season, I think he would have scored, he'd be sitting there with much more than 5 Premier League goals now, which means he'd be ahead of Jesus. but it's what, like I said, what Jesus, what other stuff he brings to the team, and I'm not sure Eddie Nketiah can do that. So it's going to be intriguing to see how he steps up. But for now, he is the main man. That's why I really hope he plays well during these 2 games over in Dubai. He plays well against Juventus in the game at the Emirates on December 17th. Just give himself a little bit of a confidence boost, because I'm sure he will be feeling the pressure going into that West Ham game. He knows how big an opportunity this is for him, and he'll want to take it, no doubt about that. So, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Nketiah copes with this situation. Balogun is, of course, the other option. He's over in France at the moment. I spoke about this yesterday. I can't see Arsenal recalling Balogun. I think the option is there to do it in January. There's a certain date they have to do it by. I'd be very, very surprised if that's an option that they go for, just because it would bring him back. And yes, it'd fill a place on the substitutes bench, might get some minutes here and there. But you're just taking him away from a team where he's playing week in, week out, where he's clearly playing well, he's progressing well, his career's going in the right path, he's getting confidence, he's getting really used to playing senior men's football week in, week out. He scored 8 goals in 15 games for Reims this season in League One. It's just been a really excellent loan spell, and to sort of cut that short now, it'd be a real blow to him, I'm sure. And I still don't think he'd get many minutes here, so it just feels a bit pointless to me. I think Arsenal would be like the last option they go for when it comes to replacing Jesus. I think they'd much rather keep him there, go with Nketiah, than you can have Martinelli as another option. I mean, to be fair, Mikel's even gone with Smith Rowe at times as a false 9. That's not a position I want to see him playing in by any means, but it is something Mikel clearly thinks he can do, because he's shown that in the past. Hopefully that's way at the back of his mind when it comes to this as well. So I can't really see Balogun. I think the two, obviously Nketiah for now is going to be the main guy, and then it's going to be a case of just what do they do in January, and if there is someone. Arsenal's priorities in the January transfer window, or in the sort of next move they make in the transfer market, it's not really a secret. We kind of know it's a winger, it's a central midfielder. Are they going to move away from that just to sort of plug a gap for a couple of months while someone's injured? I'm not sure. And I think also, if you do just go in and they end up getting in a winger who can score goals, then that gives you another option for goals. And Arsenal do share goals around. So, someone like Mudryk, and he's clearly been linked for a long, long time. He's shown he can score goals this season. If he is available, if they can somehow get a deal done for him, would it be wiser for them to stick with someone like that, who they've clearly identified as a potential target and isn't just a bit of a panic buy type situation? Do you do that and then just hope Jesus gets back quickly, hope Mudryk hits the ground running and can score goals from the left-hand side? It gives you the option of putting Martinelli into the centre as well. I don't know, it's all speculation at the moment, but certainly worth a debate, and that's what we all love doing when you talk about football, isn't it? It's all about opinion, it's all about debate. I've seen lots of it raging on my timeline over the last 48 hours or so. People getting very hepped up, very angry, as usual, when it comes to social media. But let me know what you guys think. What is your opinion on the whole? How do you replace Gabriel Jesus? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your time. As always, enjoy the game later on today if you are watching it. And I'll be back tomorrow to discuss, hopefully, what will be a nice Arsenal victory over in Dubai. Have a good day. Speak to you soon.